Every project, regardless of how well it's planned, faces potential risks. FlexiProject provides comprehensive tools to effectively handle project risks, from identification and impact assessment to developing mitigation strategies. In this video, we'll explore how to leverage FlexiProject's built-in risk management module to protect your projects. First, we should check whether the risk management module is enabled in the system settings. Enabling or disabling this module is done on the front-end side, so if we disable this module, here, the data already entered into the system will not be deleted, but will simply be hidden. If you don't have this option enabled, turn it on so that risk management options appear in the system. When we enable this module, we will see that risks can be defined on two axes, probability and impact. In this window, we can define within the system settings how we will assess our risks. We can use a 10-point scale to define the probability and impact. What's important is that we can change the names of these fields to make those axes best suit our risk management methodology. We can change the number of these points as well as the names for given values. Let's assume that our methodology is a 5x5 matrix, which will display our risks in a specific matrix we will see shortly. Another element is the risk categories, which we can also rename. We also set up categories here, which we will use to organize risks in our system. Naming a category makes it easy to categorize risks in our project. With the risk management module enabled and having the probability, impact, and category defined, let's move on to an example project. In the Risk tab, we will see a full list of our risks. Here are quite a few with described details and values on the probability and impact scale, as I've added them earlier, so we can better visualize how this module works. We can see that the risks we've defined are displayed on 5x5 matrix I mentioned earlier. The matrix displays the assigned risk values and positions them accordingly. Those with the lowest probability and impact will appear in this corner, while on the opposite side are the highest risks. We can call them the most severe. Let's assume we have a new risk in the project. To add a risk, we click Add and name the risk. Let's say I want to name this one Data Migration Issues. I click Add, and the risk appears in the list. In the next step, we complete the detailed, comprehensive, and specific details of such a risk through the description window. Here we can choose the status, whether it's currently identified but not yet active, and needs actions to be taken or closed. Let's assume we've just identified it for now. Then we choose its probability and impact. Next, we can assign a person to the risk, someone in our organization who will be responsible for addressing it and mitigating the risk. Let's say this risk will be assigned to Olivia. We can select the risk category here. And let's assume that data migration issues fall under the technology category. Then we have descriptive fields. In this field, we can enter the risk description and the action plan. Filling in this field allows us to take proper actions if the risk occurs. We can also specify the impact this risk may have on the schedule, let's say 15 days, and the budget. Completing these fields has an informational function, and their completion will not affect the data in the schedule or budget, regardless of the risk status. We can also fill in the impact on the final product field if we find it necessary in case a given risk directly affects the project deliverables. It's possible to add attachment. For instance, files that better describe the risk, or we can leave a comment. At the very bottom, we have the option to save the risk. Then we close this window, and we will also see that there is an empty schedule-related field because we can link this risk to the project schedule. Tasks, phases, or milestones to better position the risk in the project lifecycle. Let's go to the Schedule tab where we will see a task list or milestones that we can link the risk to. Let's assume that the data migration issues risk is related to implementation and link it to the task. This connection will be visible not only in the risk details, but also in the details of the task associated with the risk. When we close this window and go to the Schedule tab, we can see that the task lists now include a visible risk column showing the associated risks. The display of risks in this column changes with their status. Inactive risks will be marked in gray, while risks that are marked as active will appear in red, indicating that action is required. You can see from afar that a given task requires special attention. Let's say we want to filter the risk according to our preferences, searching for risks by specific attributes. When we click Filter, we can choose the risk owner, category, impact, and probability. Let's say we want to view all the risks assigned to Miss Jade Williams that have high or very high impact. And we can see that there is one such risk that meets the criteria I specified. We can also display in the system a list of all risks and filter it in a similar way through the Report Creation module in the FlexiProject system. We can go to the Reports tab and create a report of all risks. When creating a report, click Risks Report, then Add, and here we can apply additional filters that will generate the report. Let's say the risk status equals active, and in this way we can view active risks across all our organization, in all projects in the system. This makes it easier to manage such risks, not just on the project level as project manager, but also at the organizational level. As project coordinators or management staff, we have a broader view of risks in our organization. We can also include risks in the project documentation. For example, in the project charter. To do this, let's go to the project charter template. We can close this report for now since we do not want to save the outcome. If we go to the project charter settings, let's select Project Charter Template. And on the right-hand side of my project charter template, we can see that there's a dedicated field for risks. On the right side, on the list of elements that we can add to our project charter template, we can add fields, and we see that the risk-related field is here. Let's add it again. The first field will show risks, and we can filter them here by category. But we can also display the entire risk map as a matrix. If our configuration of Project Charter is finished, let's save this and check what the charter will look like for our project. Let's open Project Charter, and when we scroll down, we will see that all risks appear along with the matrix, drawing data from the project's risk management module. This enables real-time reporting through, for example, project charters or project review cards to show the risks we have, and once again, manage them more effectively. The system gives us great flexibility to configure how we want to manage risks in our organization. As you can see, risk management in a FlexiProject is quite simple. But in the long run, it can significantly improve project management, helping us avoid or respond to risks more effectively and ensuring smooth execution of our projects. That's all for today's video. I hope this was helpful for you. I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the latest how-to videos, and to reach out to our support team if you have any questions.